motherfucker. That can't be right. I can't possibly. I'm coming through everywhere. What?
Can you hear me?
No,
Yes.
everyone's muted.
Everyone's muted.
Everyone's muted through the stream?
Yep.
That makes no sense.
No sound on the stream.
Do you have your sound on, honey?
Yes.
That
Oh.
can't
I guess
possibly...
not. I had it on, but I didn't have it on.
Uh-oh. Yeah-oh.
I had it on in one place, but not the other.
All right.
So, we're a podcast in which we... I'm doing bad. We do a podcast where we play test Shattered Worlds RPG, and it's space opera, it's fantasy, there's magic, skeletons, got the whole damn shebang. Let's go around the horn. I'm your Loremaster, Jeff. AJ.
Hi, I'm AJ. I go by he, she, or they.
Kick ass. Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I go by she, her, they, them, hey, you over there.
Hell yeah. And finally, Anthony.
I'm Anthony, and I go by they, them.
Heck yeah. I realized I had to switch accounts for Zoom, so I need to rename myself on the stream here.
Same.
Loremaster.
Oh, God, I didn't do that yet. Hello.
There we go. So that's the show. These are the people. So why don't we talk a little bit about your relationship with role-playing games, how long you've been doing it, maybe a little story about it. AJ.
All right. Well, I have been playing role-play games for about like 5 or 6 years. I started out on the Dread system, which is basically instead of using any dice, you use a Jenga tower. So that's terrifying. And I've moved on to like a few other systems here and there. I'm currently playing on another podcast called Christmas Tide Ohio. I'm playing in the Kids on Bikes system. And I enjoy that one a lot. That one's fun because instead of stats, you have like stat modifiers, you have stat dice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's so cool. So like flight, you could have a 20, means you're like real dexterous or whatever.
Yeah.
And then whatever brains is D4, that kind of stuff. Rachel,
So
tell
Jeff,
us
you're
about
muted
your...
in one ear.
Yeah, I'm muted. Fork.
In one ear, he says.
In one ear.
In what?
How does that even happen?
No, that does make sense.
That is the voice of God that you hear.
Okay, I'm gonna...
That's our engineer, Cameron Raymond.
Hey, Cameron, what's up?
Hello.
So I've moved it to the center, and it still seems to be working on my backup. So, but maybe that was the issue. Maybe I'm
now it's
outputting...
working fine.
Hell yeah! So I was outputting in mono to the left instead of whatever. There's probably a way to change that on Zoom, make everyone mono, but
perhaps
not necessary.
All right, so
Rachel,
I'm Rachel.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, I'm Rachel, and I played D&D the first time in I think like 1982 or 83, and really loved it. But then moved away from the people that I was playing D&D with and did not get to play it again for almost, like 35 years or so. And just noticed that it was getting real popular and started to watch some live streams and got really hooked into it. And now I'm back and I love it.
Hell yeah. And Anthony.
Well, let's see. I inserted myself in my older cousin's D&D game when I was 7, which I think, that was 1977. And, basically been playing ever since, all kinds of things, not just D&D. Yeah, so whenever I can. So.
Hell yeah. Let's see. I started when I was 10 with Car Wars and Marvel superheroes, and I'm 44 now. So 30 plus years of thinking about role-playing games. There was like 10 years there where I didn't play them much. I was married and my ex-wife was controlling. It's a whole deal. But I was
Are we going into
recently.
X's? Because I've got stories.
Yeah, let's go.
I was with someone recently that was a very supportive partner and encouraged me to get back into it. And that's when I created this show. And then when COVID happened, I started like finding people to play with online. I highly recommend it. There's tons of different ways you can play, like, and different systems, If you guys are watching this, you know all that. I'll shut up. All you need to know is Anthony played with us in season 1 and 2, and AJ played with us in season 3 and 4, and Rachel's new to the party, and so I hope that that we can all make her feel comfortable. We already had an abortive first part, so we know she's great at this. You guys will never hear that, but unless you stop me on the street and beg for it, but no.
We'll do better. We can do better. That's my feeling about it. Yeah. It was a good, like, sort of a game. You know how this was kind of like a game 0. So we had game -2 and then -1.
Yeah.
And now we're at game 0.
Yeah, we got less negative every episode.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And now all the negativity's gone.
Oh yeah.
Every time an episode ends, an angel gets its wings.
What was
the
that,
power of positive thinking.
That's right.
Hell yes.
Bring it into the positive. No more negatives.
Yeah, we're all super positive. So I think that's a good place to start. Unless I'll get into lines and veils, I guess. We use safety tools on this show. I like to use lines and veils and the X card and the O card. I just realized that we're a stream, so we're going to need to like hold up actual cards or like type it in the chat. We'll talk about it when I get to it. Lines are things that you don't want to interact with in any way in the run of play. Like for me, and we can talk about these things on air, or you can tell me ahead of time or whenever, like privately, if it's something you don't want to get into the specifics, whatever. But right now I usually do slavery and racial stuff, and then explicit. Well, some things are veils, which might come up, but then we fade to black kind of thing. But lines are stuff that, like, for one person, it was anything to do with melting person, like they'd gone through an experience or whatever. Some people it's tooth trauma, like it can be anything.
Yeah.
But that'll help us if we get to a point where somebody throws the X card and it's like, oh yeah, like we're used to dealing with not second guessing ourselves, but being careful not to cause harm. So that's lines. Do you guys have any lines you want to throw out there before we get going?
I always throw out body horror as one, just because like that's yucky for me, and also it's yucky for a bunch of people.
There you go. We dabble with it here and there, but only when AJ is not on the show. And so now that we're a stream, that's not a thing. So so yeah, we'll be real careful.
Well, hurt kids and hurt
kids.
animals. Yeah.
Hurt animals. Okay, that's good.
Kind of a
We have done a lot of animal hurting.
well,
At least one of my shows.
Yeah,
Not so much this one.
I'm not into that. It's one thing to go after humanoids that are behaving badly. That's fine. They're fair game because they can talk. I guess I don't like the idea of animals because they can't talk. They can't save
How do you feel
themselves.
about giant supernatural animals?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
Just like, don't poison the neighborhood dog or something like that. That kind of
Okay.
thing is something that could happen in my life.
Intentionally causing harm to an animal.
Gotcha. Exactly. If it's a natural disaster or something, what are you going to do? But yeah, I guess if it's a giant insect,
Spider, giant.
if it's huge, if it's huge.
Like a chocobo, a giant chicken.
I think if it was that much bigger than me.
I don't like how comfortable you feel killing a chocobo.
Chocobos are delightful.
I hear they're delicious.
Work.
I'm
They
a
probably are.
vegetarian, so it's a joke. It's just a joke.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't eat meat, but we will eat cartoon meat.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
fine.
won't believe how much this vegetarian loves hunting in video games.
Oh, right.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So those are
I
good.
think those are the main ones. Graphic descriptions of rape are no good.
Sexual assault, yeah.
Sexual assault happening before my eyes is not so good. I think that it is unfortunately, certainly part of the world that we live in, but that doesn't mean it needs to be part of every world.
Right? That's
like there
what we've
could
chosen
be
to, yeah.
there could be civilizations where the Greek myths never happened, and so that never became like a thing.
Medusa, no.
Zeus, just put it away.
Right.
So moving on to veils, these are, or unless Anthony, you want to add anything?
I other than what's already been mentioned, I'm pretty easy with nothing really bothers me.
Cool.
I've
so
seen
moving
things.
on to veils, yeah, for sure. Moving on to veils, these are things that you don't mind if they're brought up, like maybe in somebody's backstory or like, they start to happen. Then we can fade to black on that, and be like, we know what happened there. For me, that's graphic sexuality and poop stuff. Like, I get it. Everybody poops. I've read that book too. So.
They made a book?
It's a little
Everyone
Korean book.
poops.
It's
Everybody
everything.
poops.
You've never
poops.
seen the book, AJ? Oh,
I've
it's a
never
classic.
seen the book.
It's-
I'm lying out of my
Oh.
entire asshole.
It's
It's
wonderful.
really cute. Yeah.
It's adorable, and it's really a big hit with the little kids. It's one of the best books ever written.
That sounds
Hell
like
yeah.
a New York Times bestseller.
At least. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you ever decide to procreate, you will get multiple copies.
Don't worry, I won't.
It's a trap. Don't do it.
So if you guys think of any more veils, just let me know. Moving on to the X card, this is like if for whatever reason, like we don't even have to know, but if for whatever reason something skeezes you out or like we got too close to something, just type an X in the chat or like do this with your hands, and that will just shut it down, and we'll all keep an eye on each other. We have Zoom up, so like we know. Let's see. So that's it. Like we just shut it down. And if you want to talk about why, you can, but nobody's under any obligation. And the last one is the O card. So for this, you can just do this, or you can make a heart. That's what they do on Asians Represent. So, yeah, and that's if you really love what's happening, some role play between characters or an NPC or whatever. Just type O in the chat or do something with your hands that's tasteful. You know, don't be doing this shit.
How dare. You've taken my only form of communication.
So I think that will do it. As an example of that, I think AJ and Petra, or Peregrine, AJ's character, and his wife or girlfriend in the show, they were like having a chat, and it was real moving, and so we kept it going. Yeah, that's what that's for. So yeah, let's take 5, and then when we come back, we'll meet your characters. We'll talk about if you have rules, questions, that kind of shit. All right.
Right.
Look at us. We're on the shit. Look at us. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So without further ado, let's talk about first I'll talk about the setting. So the setting is on a fancy asteroid party place, sort of like you might see in The Fifth Element. It's a hotel convention center. It has all these different habitats in like their own kind of protected dome. So you could have desert or forest or whatever. It's going to be a random events table, like wild ass time. It's in space, so there'll be spaceships. And I mean, I guess that's enough, right? Yeah. There's an on top part, and then a middle part, and then a bottom part, and then the asteroid itself, even plus space. There's a train, all kinds of stuff. Any questions?
Is it like a highly tourist, well, I guess because it's a hotel convention center, but are there like places outside of the area, or is the whole asteroid just that?
It's just that there are like embassies there. There's people that work there full time. So there could be people that aren't there to celebrate, you know, like truckers that drop off a load and then want to hang out, you know, drop off a load. Good job, Jeff.
You said no poop stuff.
Yeah, they pop onto Stoneflower Station or Stoneflower Island Station. Stoneflower Island. They pop on, they do their number 2s, and they head out. But they might also want to go shopping. So there's a big public common area in the middle where anybody can be. It's got parks. It's got like, you know, boardwalk kind of shit, hotels, embassies. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's a pretty posh place for the most part.
Yes. For people attending conventions, everything's paid for. So like everything in the shops and hotels and stuff, you can eat as much chocolate as you want. For the people just visiting or that work there, it might be a little different. It will be different. Yeah, there'll be capitalism a little bit.
Is there like a special event happening for like when we're playing in that world? What's happening?
There's usually more than one thing going on, but one thing that's definitely happening is the Remembrance Day Festival that starts the next day after you get there. So that'll be kind of going on. And Remembrance Day, 28 years ago, 29, something like that, there was a war began or no, it's Remembrance Day is when it ended, when the treaty was signed and the war was over. Who wants to remember the start of a war? No, thank you. So, and that was 23 years ago, the end of the war. So there'll be military types there celebrating. There'll be families. This is sort of like a Disneyland for this part of space. So it might be a little less posh than it would be a different time of the year. Less posh, more diverse, I guess.
And what was the name of the asteroid again?
Stoneflower Island.
Stoneflower Island. I'm taking notes.
Cool. Yeah, it's a joint project of Vorok and Gillamorian designers. And so earth and water are like harmoniously balanced in this project. Oh, other events that are taking place. There's like the ribbon cutting of a department store. I don't know, like just random stuff. But you all will be going there for a specific purpose, which is a black tie kind of party to kick off the festival, and you'll have your own secret reasons for why you're going, but like that'll be the first main event.
All right. Okay.
And that'll be at the Embassy Hotel in one of their convention rooms. Or would it be it'd be in the fancy restaurant party area. This isn't just an ordinary gala.
Does the fancy restaurant have a name?
Yeah, let's come up with a cool name for our fancy restaurant and party area. I mean, it's called the Embassy Hotel, so you could do a tie-in, or you could just go off the board. Wet dirt, because of earth and water.
Flowing stone.
Flowing stone.
Okay. Yeah. It's like water from a stone. Or is it a stone flowing down a river? Oh,
Maybe they
weird.
have like big like rock sculptures with waterfalls.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, and they spend a lot of money on force fields, so they can even have water go up by itself in places.
Ooh.
And then there's like anti-gravity vases and shit. Yeah. I like it. Water is on display. All the seats are made out of stone. There's pillows.
I like that. The benches and stuff are like, well, benches are maybe like actual chairs or something. They're carved out of stone, but they have like this embroidering on them.
Yeah.
So that they're not
moss.
like god awful to sit on.
It's made out of moss.
I love it.
Yeah, and like
moss
you could grow moss in a lab to like feel like a cushion or a pillow.
There are robotic animals here, but there's also biogenetically altered stuff, because you're allowed to do that in this galaxy on animals. There's strict ethical rules or whatever, but not on people. That's one of the great tenets of the Conclave Charter, is no human genetic shenanigans.
No human genome chicanery.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say chicanery, but then I felt like maybe I should dial it up to shenanigans. So what when we first started season 5, not streaming, there was we did some stuff with spaceships and like a space dock and like a holding area where they take away your weapons and store them in a vault somewhere. Like we can skip all that stuff if you guys want, or I was going to say you just have been here because you're on a job probably, but if you think that'd be fun to have a full entry, we can do that.
I would like to get to know the rest of my crew.
Cool. Okay. So to do that, let's see. Once we get to know your characters, we'll start to talk about how do they know each other. And some of that we can do during the show, but like it might be nice to have one or two hooks between the three of you. So let's start with Anthony. I could tell you're itching.
So I'm Alecto, Ashrender. I'm a Ifrit, which means I have red skin. And Ifrits are notoriously temperamental and stuff, but I seem very serene, at least on the surface. I am a monk, a warrior monk who was raised from infancy on a small backwater planet that was largely forgotten. The caste of monks that are living there have been living there for centuries, alone and isolated. And I met someone. She came to research. She was an archaeologist, came to research the monks. We fell in love. She left, and now I am searching for her.
Ah, interesting.
So I have left my order and am wandering the universe.
Okay, so this little backwater world, would you have been within the Ascendancy territory? That's where like the Ifrit, their government is dominant, in one of the disputed zones, or a colony that's mostly other groups like Lunari or Zentradi, like you know, it gives us a sense of how cosmopolitan your character might be.
Absolutely not cosmopolitan at all. Everything is fresh and new, and she's very naive and easily astounded by like ordinary things. Like, you know, basically it was like she was living in a place that's the equivalent of like, you know, mystical Tibet, you know, like up in the mountains. No one has, it's kind of a Shangri-La sort of situation. She is
cool.
Yeah, and physically she's very short and stocky. One might think that she's overweight until you see her move, and she's very nimble and cat-like and very strong.
Cool. Let's go to Rachel. Tell us about Mistletoe.
So Mistletoe is a Vorak warrior bruiser, and she's a computer technician. Grew up in a family that was full of nerds and computer people, but she's got a very kind of brute force approach to being a technician, and sometimes she maybe pushes things a little too far, but then she gets results that other people don't get by taking these kinds of brutal risks. But she does also break things sometimes, and then she can fix them.
Cool. And AJ, tell us about Gale.
All right, so Gale Zauber is a Zentradi Skyrunner. She is a magic user, and she is a conjurer. Basically, she has spent her whole life studying the arcane and researching into its relationship to general science. She is not the kind of person who thinks that the two are mutually exclusive. They feed into each other somehow. and she is also very work oriented. She doesn't spend a lot of time with other people. She's mostly studying, she's mostly researching. So she isn't the best communicator. And also, she is 9 out of 10 times the smartest person in the room. So if people like try to undermine that or try to like assert some kind of dominance over her in like an academic sense, she will absolutely get confrontational.
Cool. All right, so none of you are Lunari, which are the most populous expression in the galaxy. So I'm thinking, what brings you together? I don't know about mercenaries. I like the idea that you might be experts in your field, and so you're brought together for this particular project. What do you think?
Sounds good.
I think that could work, yeah.
So, and maybe it's been going a little while, so you've already gotten to know each other. But your backstories are so wildly different, it would be odd if you knew each other for a while.
I feel like I don't know them.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely Gale's first time meeting these people.
Yeah, I don't know these people at all.
Okay.
I can barely remember their names. So, and that's me, the player, saying that. So I don't want Mistletoe to be in a situation where she's smarter than I am. I can't handle that. So,
So let's say that the would you guys rather work for a government agency or like some third party like do-gooder organization?
Well, how about this?
Consultants.
So okay, so there's Gale, and then Anthony. Is Alecto the name of your character? Is that what I'm seeing on your screen there? You got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, it's Alecto.
So Alecto. So what does Alecto do? Like, what kind of a job?
Well, she is really good at fighting, but also she's an aesthetic. So she took a vow of poverty but needs to make her way through the universe. So basically odd jobs, whatever.
Odd jobs. And then what does Gale do?
Gale is a scientist. She is a researcher of the arcane and of science and technologies. She works to integrate the two.
Okay, so yeah,
I have a great idea.
All right.
Gale, you're a whistleblower. And so you are the one that's brought this tasty tidbit of intelligence to the group. I think this is going to be a Charlie's Angels kind of group, like a non-governmental agency, do-gooders intergalactic or whatever.
Yeah.
So Gale discovered something and decided that she needed a programmer and then somebody else to just kind of do whatever.
Right.
Else.
And because you can't have weapons on this station, y'all three were chosen because you can handle yourselves without them.
Right.
Or you could smuggle in something like a walking stick or whatever. You can smuggle stuff in anyway because you have this do-gooder organization behind you. What is it in the Better Future Society, something like that. So yeah, we'll think about that. I'll come up with some names or whatever. But yeah, basically what it is unification experiments are expressly forbidden by the Conclave Charter. It's like rule number 1. Let's call it the first tenet. It says you shouldn't try to use the energy of combining people's energy or DNA or whatever to power experiments. And so it's super important that not happen. So that's what you were working for, a company that you saw some documents or blueprints or whatever, and they were being all shady. And so you're like, oh, hey, guy, that's not cool. And they're like, oh, okay, well, you can't prove it yet, so we're going to send you into the belly of the beast, where they're fixing to get more investors and collaborators on this project, because all the richest people are going to be in one place at one time. So they think that they'll be peddling these secrets there. So that's why the three of you are there, to get to the bottom of this mystery. And possibly a heist if you decide to steal the blueprints, that kind of stuff. So we'll say you all ride in the same ship. You meet on a different planet, and then so we'll do like you guys talking to each other as you arrive at the station. And that'll give us a chance to get to know each other. And even though you don't know each other well, let's try to like find ways for you to bond or whatever quickly. So,
yeah, you can trust us to figure that out.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, you're all so positive, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And I think too that it's interesting to watch relationships build. I think that's kind of the fun part. And like you said, if everybody's being positive, and I think like one thing that sometimes feels weird to me, especially at the beginning of role-playing games, is when people sort of force a conflict when there doesn't need to be one. Like, we're supposed to be a team, and the conflict should come from outside of us. I mean, I'm sure we're going to have some little conflict at some point, but you don't usually get to those conflicts until you know somebody, right? At first, there's this little honeymoon period where everybody's like, oh yeah, everything's going to be great. We're going to get along. Everything's going to be fine. And then you don't find out until, you find somebody's dirty socks on the bathroom floor or whatever, that there's a problem. So
oh shit. On Everything is Awesome, this upcoming episode, Rachel and I, we've been going through the Ultimate RPG Dungeon Master's Guide to
that's right.
we'll like roll some dice and create a thing. So the thing we created last time is a like a vengeful god of socks. and if you piss him off, he'll embarrass you by having your socks roll down or one go missing, that kind of stuff.
I guess
sounds like the sock trolls from South Park.
Ooh, I haven't seen that. Yeah, sock trolls, that's fun.
Well, it all came out of an inspiration of Malvolio from 12th Night, who has a very personal relationship with stockings. So
Malvolio, he's a scoundrel.
He is. It's right there in the name, Malvolio. Means bad guy.
Just means a terrible dude.
So that's
so
we got the hook. So what are some qualities of your character that might inspire your interactions?
I don't know yet, Jeff.
Yeah, we have to interact a little.
I think that's what we're all gonna find out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Unlike with acting in a production, we invent stuff on the fly that suddenly all of a sudden our character is more like this and more like that. Yeah, that's one of the joys of role-playing games.
Yeah.
And also of podcasting, obviously.
Yeah. And I understand that as a writer you want to get to that stuff right away, but we're We're not ready yet, Jeff.
No.
We're not there yet. But we
Let's see.
promise. We promise. We'll deliver.
Is there anything else we need to cover?
Speaking of not ready yet, there's a slight.
That's
slight
Cameron, our
something.
producer. A slight what?
There's a slight desync between the video and the video on the stream.
Did you say big alien?
No, there's a slight desync between the audio and the video on the stream.
Mother effer. That's no good. Well, maybe next time I'll have Rachel and Cameron host the Zoom call. That might work better.
I don't know how that works, because then, well, that's all technical fun. We'll figure out later.
Yeah.
When we do our...
OBS lets me take whatever I get out of Zoom, whether it's hosted here or hosted somewhere else.
Okay. Well, if that...
that's not an issue.
If that lightens up the load on your processing over there for whatever reason, whether it's your Wi-Fi or your...
I gotta get a new modem router, whatever situation. I gotta go into the Xfinity store, or like,
do you
sit at
have
home
an
for
old
6 hours and wait for them to arrive?
Do you have an old router? How old is your router?
Let's see. I moved in here in 2016. It's 2021.
Whoa, that router's on its last legs.
Yeah, so I'll
yeah, and probably splurge on putting some actual wiring in instead of
how dare you
relying on the Wi-Fi.
Get a signal booster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I could do right away.
Right.
So I might do that, and
but
then I could order a 200-foot cable for the Ethernet.
Like I have.
Oh my god! I don't even know if the iMac. Oh yeah, it has it.
Of course, even Apples are that functional.
Yeah.
I think we got like is it a 50-foot cord, Cameron, that goes into your room?
Something like that.
Yeah.
50 or 100.
Yeah, it goes up along the ceiling.
No, it goes up along the ceiling of the basement.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
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 I like a good ceiling job.
Sure. That's what she said.
Yep.
I'm not sure how any of this is something that she
said. Zero gravity fucking. I'm just
getting more and more absurd and Dadaist as the evening progresses.
It could be the fizzy lifting drink from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes, we've got a Wonkavator in here.
That's not a snozberry.
Well, there was that song from that documentary by Lionel Richie, Dancing on the Ceiling. That was about sex on the ceiling.
Something that and this total change of subject, I know you were all real happy going down that tangent, but you know how like corporations have these really kind of cringy get to know you games?
Yes.
Oh God, yes.
Mm-hmm. So what I would love to do is for the next session, each of us find one of those really cringy get to know you games, and we can run our characters through them.
Ooh, that's
a great idea.
I like that.
Yeah, like a trust fall, or do you mean like a conversational?
Well, we're on Zoom, so we can't. I guess we could do trust falls because.
Oh, why did you catch me? Oh, my head.
Yeah, good point. So yeah, you want to do trust falls?
You.
We're role players. We can handle it. I can make a thud noise if I need to.
There you go.
I hope you make a catching noise.
Splat.
All right. Let's sign off. Give us your plugs. AJ, go ahead.
You can find me on Twitter at AJ_GANAROS. And you can find me on my podcast that I do with a bunch of other people called Christmas Tide Ohio.
Rachel.
Okay, so you can listen to my 12th Night podcast by Rose City Shakespeare. You have to enter in all those letters because there's too many 12th Nights and Shakespeares in podcasting. Or there aren't too many. Let's just say there's a lot. There's never too many.
None of them
Never
are
too
as
much
good as
Shakespeare.
yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That's very kind. I know you've never listened to it, so I appreciate your
have.
confidence.
I have. It's very good.
I've
Anthony
heard.
called it.
I've heard stories. I have heard.
Thank you. I do appreciate the vote of confidence, but I had fun making them, and I hope other people have fun listening to them. And I'm in the middle of editing the Midsummer Night's Dream one, which is coming up pretty soon. I have a podcast that's on hiatus called Actually Autistic, where I talk to people after I found out that I'm autistic, which didn't happen until I was 57. So that was quite the journey. But I use that podcast as a way to talk to some really interesting people. And so you should tune in for them because I get to ask them questions. And let's see, what else am I doing? Oh, the Scenic Arts Fabricators and Set Designers podcast. I just did an interview with Jay Duckworth, the proptologist, who was the properties person for Hamilton. I'm sure he did it for Hamlet too, but for Hamilton and many other amazing shows. And I'm on a podcast with Jeff called Everything
That's
is
right.
Awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah. Everything is Awesome is back. And it's great.
We just did one episode, as Jeff was talking about, and then he's about to release another episode, which was the introductory episode, which I then decided was too intense for the first episode. Partly because it was the day that we found out about Delta, and I think I was in an altered state anyway, but...
Yo, that was the last heat wave before this one.
Oh,
it was so bad.
And
So
it was all happening at the same time. Was that when it was 117 degrees? Yes.
Yeah.
No wonder I was delirious. So anyway, listeners, if you listen to that, just keep in mind that I was delirious and I did my best.
It's very good. Very good. Anthony, what's up?
I'm not exciting. You can find me on Twitter. Dr. Mod, Doc with a K. And that's pretty much it. And I'm here.
I was gonna say, Anthony's on dozens of episodes of Shattered Worlds RPG.
So many.
Both as Rael Esgalon, the Zentradi spy, and then later as didn't she play another character? Oh yeah,
I played a bunch of NPCs here and there. Picked them up.
You were a pirate briefly, I believe, with Gilliam. Yeah. So anyway, and Anthony's also been on Everything is Awesome. So has AJ, with previous co-hosts or by myself. And yeah, Rachel's also been sitting in on the War for the Tower, which is back in a big way with some people that I love. A couple people from my D&D group have joined. Like, it's great. So check that out, warforthetower.com. You can find us on the internet, Shattered Worlds RPG, on Facebook. Email us, shatteredworldspod@gmail.com. And find us on Twitter at SWRPGpod. I think that'll do it. How do you guys feel?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I feel great.
yeah.
Yeah, this was an awesome session 0. We had our technical difficulties and we conquered them, so that's pretty good.
Yes, we conquered the shit out of them.
We did a conquer.
One conquer.
Just one.
Isn't that a conch? Is
Yeah, that's
conquer
a
the
conch.
plural?
Yeah.
Oh, I realized I had my
Conch
fan
eye.
on full blast this whole time.
I
don't
can't
know if you
hear
guys
it.
noticed.
No one heard it.
No, I
Yeah.
can't hear it.
I turned
I'm
it
just
off
jealous
a
because
minute ago.
it's actually kind of warm down here in my basement.
It's like 90 in my house right now, but I'll
Yeah.
allow it. How's it doing down there in the basement, Anthony?
It's fine. It's
Cool.
it's warm, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sweating my balls like all over your couch, so that's good.
Hell yeah. Get that papa's on.
Well, why don't you start?
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you real soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep it rolling.